if you really have to destroy yourself, like, you're doing it without me watching, because I don't approve of this. Hey everyone, I'm Laura.
I'm Kristen.
And this is Souls in Bloom, where Kristen and I have open, candid conversations in hope of inspiring your growth and ours as well. And today, we've touched on this in other podcasts, but Kristen and I kind of felt like this deserved its own entire episode. I don't know how long or short it will be, but it's definitely a topic worth discussing, and that is letting people go from your life. Not in like a grief way necessarily, like you lost somebody, but more in like I don't know, how would you describe this? Like a personal growth kind of way.
Yeah, like a mindset type of thing for your mental health.
Yeah.
Maybe
even like, this sounds a little harsh, but like trimming the fat on your life kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people are just downers and they want to drag people down, so that type of thing too.
Yes, they do. Misery loves company is the phrase, and my God, is that true sometimes?
Right, for sure.
So, yeah, we both have experienced this. I kind of had like different. I don't know. I've had all the experiences. I've had the like immediate, like, all right, well, we're done here kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I've had it a little more gradual in a relationship, and then I've also had the like, just kind of over time, you kind of slowly drift apart kind of situation.
Yeah.
And every time it's been a good thing ultimately that those people weren't in my life anymore. So
yeah. But now, did you made the decision, right, each time, or was it them?
It was definitely me. For two of the three, the one where we kind of drift apart, we're still every now and again we'll chit chat. Maybe it's been a while since I've talked to this person, but yeah, but we can talk about that too. I'm like done with the relationship, but I don't feel like it needs to be verbally acknowledged with the person. I guess there's going to be situations where it needs to be, and there's going to be some where it's just like, there goes the communication, and that's
yeah. I have a friend like that I can easily think of.
Yeah.
Where we barely talk anymore ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of.
So it's like, what happens now? Like,
yeah, I know. Do you acknowledge it? Do you just.
Like, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Like, it's been so long. It's like, it's kind of weird now.
Yeah. I know. And like, man, I wish I could go into more details on that one for myself personally, because this person was pretty big in my life, but like, there's like, what if they ever saw this? I still value their opinion, so I'm not gonna say anything about it. But
yeah,
I will say, well, I guess I did say that already. It's usually been a good thing. I did have one relationship where, not like a romantic relationship, a friendship, I should say, where my friend and I verbally was like, we're done here. Like this is the only time I think I've ever done this in a way that was just very direct and like, you're being unhealthy. I can't watch you do this anymore. And we still talk now. Like we had to have a break from the relationship, or the friendship rather. She had to like clean up and like go through some hard times. I think we didn't talk for like 2 years or so. And then finally she like realized what a screwball she was being, and contacted me and apologized to me and everything. And like,
well, that was good.
Yeah. And now we still talk now. So now, she's like totally different place now.
When you told her that, it had to end, how did she take that?
Not well. She was ticked off at me because it was like I was trying to control her life or something like that. Basically, in a nutshell, what had happened was she was dating this guy who was a drug addict, and he was into heroin. I think we can all agree that's not good. And she was kind of going down a risky path anyway, like in her relationships, and just being kind of getting a little out of control. And I had voiced my concern for her. I was worried about her and her health and like where all this was leading.
Yeah.
And then she told me that she was considering trying heroin with her boyfriend. And that was just like, that was a deal breaker for me. I was just like, I can't. I've seen drugs do horrible things to people, and I'm not going to sit and watch you go down that path. If you really have to destroy yourself, like, you're doing it without me watching, because I don't approve of this. And like, in a nutshell, like, you know, get back to me when you're not in this stage anymore, basically, if you ever get out of it. I would love to still be your friend, but not under these circumstances.
Yeah.
And she wasn't happy because it was, you know, it's offensive, really. People are going to be threatened by a conversation like that because it hurts. Like, to have someone who just like wants to jump out of your life entirely because of like what you're doing that you don't really see as that big of a deal, you know? And then, so she went down that path. I don't know if she ever did try it or not, but her boyfriend ended up ODing in the bathroom over, I don't know if it was her place she was renting or a friend's place, but yeah, he died from it. So I think that was the wake-up call that she needed to like get her act together. And she did. She pulled it together. Her life is totally different now than it was back then. So yeah.
Well, good for her. Good for her. Not really good for, you know, her relationship, but
yeah.
Damn, I mean, she could have been right there too. So
I know. I'm so glad that she didn't get that deep in it, that was going to be her as well.
Yeah.
That would have been really tragic, but it wasn't. So that's good. I mean, it was a sad scenario, obviously, but
yeah. But like
I said, then she did come back around. But go ahead.
She could have easily went down that road too. Like a lot of like couples like that will actually fall right into it just as hard and end up in the same, you know, same results. So she didn't let that happen. So that's really good.
Yes. I'm very proud of her for that, because it's not easy. I mean, anyone that does like gets involved in that sort of thing, it's like not the easiest thing in the world to say no down the line, especially if you start becoming addicted to these things. But
I
don't think she got to that point, thank God. But so that's kind of a very extreme example. But I mean, it was what was best for me. And like, not that you guys really necessarily need the approval of Kristen and I, but like, we wanted to give you permission to like do these things in your life, cut these people out of your life, and put yourself first. Because I think that is like that's like the biggest thing, is people not putting themselves first when they're trying to rationalize like cutting these people out of their lives. I think it's hard because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, even if you are upset with them or the choices they've made or what they've done to you. It's like, still, unless you're like hurting so bad that you want to hurt them back, that's like kind of a different situation. But
but sometimes it takes a couple like chances too. Like, you may not want to give up on somebody so fast. You give them a couple chances, and then sometimes you reach a breaking point where you're like, okay, like I tried and it's not working, and enough is enough. Like, you know, sometimes it has to get to that point too. And I think most times that's what ends up happening.
Yeah. And that kind of falls into like setting boundaries for yourself, I think, because like establishing boundaries for yourself that you're trying to share with this person before you get to the point where you're just like, you know what, we're done here. It's like, you need to let them know where you're at, I guess, and what your boundaries are. And if they cross these lines, you will be cutting them out. So that's important to advocate for yourself.
And if they aren't okay with your boundaries or with things that you talk to them about, maybe they're not the right friend for you to begin with then, or maybe they're not the right person to be in your life then to begin with. Because if they can't understand your side of it and your boundaries and your feelings, then why have somebody like that in your life? You know, it should be a mutual thing.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest like evaluating that relationship and asking yourself, like, what are you getting out of this relationship anymore? Is it worth it to continue? Is it worth your mental energy or maybe your physical energy. Maybe you have to like put in the effort to go plan things with this person and go see this person and XYZ.
Yep.
Is it worth it to you and your well-being to continue that relationship? Like, have an honest conversation with yourself. I think like that's the basis of a lot of our topics, is that you have to be honest with yourself about things and how you're feeling.
Well,
I think
sometimes
that's so
it's
important.
hard. Sometimes it's hard,
It is. It kind of goes back to like, making excuses for people and like not wanting to hurt others, but like you really, with yourself, if you can't be honest with yourself, who can you be honest with? So what about you? What kind of situations have you been in where you had to cut some people out?
Kind of recently. Luckily, this person was just YouTube related. So it was an online friendship, like a virtual friendship, I guess you can say, where it was just phone calls, texting, voice memos, like voice notes or whatever you want to call it. And it got to a point where after a while, you start to see people's true colors. It's a lot harder and takes a lot longer if it's like an internet-based friendship or relationship, I think, because they can really tell you or say things or whatever that they want, and you may not ever know if they're telling the truth or not, because you don't know, you can't see their face, you can't, see their body language, you don't know their life. They could be on the other side of the country, and for my situation, I've never met this person, so I've never met them in real life. So who knows what kind of a person she really was. And everything seemed great at first, like everything always does. And the friendship just got a little, I would say on her end, like addictive to me, where she was like texting me all day long, sending me funny things she finds on the internet, memes and all this other stuff and videos and sharing stuff on Facebook and, all the platforms. And she had like a really, I would think, an important job to where is she getting all this time to talk to me all day long? And
it's a little weird because I get that. I know people that are like, they have these important jobs and then they're on their social media things, and I'll like check into social media. I'm terrible at social media, mind you, but like I'll check and it'll be all these things they posted all day, and I'm just like, how are you doing that? Like, don't you have a really important job to do right now? Like, anyway, go on.
Like she worked on, I'm not going to give too much detail, but she worked on the phone with like people, like she was, you know what I mean? So it's not like it was just a desk job where she didn't interact with anybody. Like she was on the phone like all day long. So like, how are you talking to somebody when you're, you know what I mean? It was just weird. So she would send me like 8 to 10 minute voice memos, like at a time. Like these would go on and on. She would just be talking about random things that go on in her neighborhood or stuff her and her husband fought about. And, I'm running a business. Like I'm a YouTuber. I run a secondhand, purse, clothing, sometimes shoes, all this other stuff, jewelry. I'm doing stuff all day long. Like I have a schedule. I have like my to-do lists, and I just I didn't have the time for it. But because we were friends, I kind of like, you make time, you make the, like adjustments, you make the excuses, and I ended up getting behind in my own work and my own things going on in the house. And that wasn't okay, and because if I don't work, I don't get paid. Like I don't make money if I don't physically work and put videos out and sell things, you know what I mean? She gets a paycheck no matter what at the end of the week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would try to explain this to her, and, she obviously knew because we found each other on YouTube. So she knew like what kind of business I did and how much work I did, but it didn't matter. And she was sending me pictures of the dog, videos of the dog. It was exhausting, to say the least.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
All day and all night, you know, she'd tell me what she was cooking for breakfast and what she made her husband for lunch. And it was like she was like documenting every little thing that like she was doing. And I'm just like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, that's
So
wait, does she have like a bad relationship with her husband or something that like she's not having these conversations with him?
not really. The impression I got from it was that she kind of used him a little bit, like for like the money and stuff. Like, you know, they have separate bills and separate, you know, bank accounts, which is fine. I do the same thing with Kyle. But like, you know, she would say it was her turn to buy the groceries, and she would make up an excuse and why she didn't have the money, so he would have to buy them. And or, you know, like sexual things, which we're not really going to get into on the podcast.
Yeah.
But how like she would avoid it, and like she would avoid it for months and months. And, you know, he would try to get like intimate with her, and she'd come up with an excuse or like get up and say she had to do something. And, you know, so it was like she wasn't really interested.
The fact that you even know this about her life is just like, clearly she was an overshare.
I know. And like, you know, she went into more detail, but I'm not gonna like go into those details. Like she would, one quick little, then that's it. Like she would say she couldn't wear certain things in the house because it would, you know, it would turn him on, and then he would want to have sex, and then she didn't want to. So she couldn't do certain things or wear certain things, or, you know, and I'm like,
yeah.
But he's your husband. Like,
oh, her poor husband. Cause like, oh, I just feel bad for his side of things, because obviously he's trying. And
yeah. And, you know, we don't know his side, so
yeah,
I don't know.
you're right. You're right. There's two sides to the story.
I do know that he worked very long hours, and, you know, she still gave him, you know, SHIT for a lot of things. But the friendship, and I would tell her, I'm like, look, I got to do this video. I mean, I'd be recording a jewelry video and my phone is dinging, you know, text and everything. I have to put it on silent. And it got to a point where she turned everything into like complaining. She would find things to complain about. She would watch other people on YouTube and complain about them. Oh, well, your customer so-and-so, I saw her over at someone else's YouTube buying something. Like, doesn't that make you mad? Like, she should be at your show and not at their show. And like bringing up all these different things.
The drama stir, this one.
So the drama started, the complaining started. And now I'm thinking like, you know, now I'm thinking this, like, oh, well, why is she over there? Like, and not at my show? And I thought she liked me, and, you know, she buys from me, but why isn't she here? She's over there. Like, so then I started to get like these crazy like thoughts. Yeah. And I'm like, I got to a point, we were only friends for, I don't even think a year. And I was like, this is not me. Like, I was like becoming somebody that I wasn't, you know, like worried about my customers like buying from other people. Like, I shouldn't have to care about that. I don't care about that. Like, but like she made me care about it. Like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
So I did tell her, and I talked to her about it, and I was like, look, I can't take the complaining, the negativity, you know, the drama, the who's doing this on YouTube. I don't care. You know, I don't care what anyone's doing. Like, I need my own space and focus on what I'm doing. And she didn't really like that. She's like, well, I'm just being honest with you, and I'm being your friend, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. And then, like I mentioned earlier, things get to a point where you've just had enough. And I wasn't mean about it, but I told her that I think it would be best if we parted ways. She had also basically ruined her friendship with 2 or 3 other people on YouTube that I was friends with also, who now they weren't friends with her. So now I'm like, well, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
Like, common denominator here, you know?
Yeah.
So she didn't really take it too well. I told her I had to focus on my business. I really couldn't, spend all day back and forth texting and voice noting her and stuff. Like it just was taking up too much of my time. She told me that she would cut down on all that stuff. And, she did for a little bit, but then a couple days later, she was right back to the all day long, every few minutes. And it would get to the point where I wouldn't even be able to answer a few of them, and she'd be sending more. So now I'm like, I have to like read and listen to all these, like, I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, that is draining for sure.
So I eventually had to say, like, I'm sorry, but enough's enough. I just can't do this anymore. And of course, then she, got defensive and got upset and was like, oh, how can you do this to me? All this other stuff. And then I didn't answer her. Because remember now, this is like internet friendship. You can easily just block somebody and they disappear.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that at first until she started to threaten me.
No.
She would be like, I don't care what you say or how you feel. I'm still going to text you every single day. And I'm still going to send you voice notes every single day of whatever I want. It wasn't really like a threat, but kind of like,
well, yeah,
do what you want.
Not like a violence threat, but like a,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what you call that.
I don't know, but I'm like, okay, so you're just going to be talking to yourself because I'm never going to answer you again. Like, so just,
yeah.
And she did it for about 2 days where I just didn't answer at all after she had said all that, like, the little threatening stuff, whatever. And then it stopped. So, and I haven't heard from her since, but like,
that's crazy.
And like, even in the beginning, when I would be, conversating back as much as she was to me, she would barely ever touch on the things that I was talking about. She would be like, oh, wow, that sucks. And then spin it right back to her.
Man, people like that drive me bananas. Yeah.
So she would have like one sentence to say about, everything I had said, and then start talking about her or something in her life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, again, what we talked about, it has to be something mutual.
Right. Yeah. Like, what are you getting out of it? And if they can't even give you some feedback on like some things you're going through or, then what is that? That's not a friendship. That's
someone that just likes to hear themselves talk. I guess.
That's what it sounds like. Oy. Well, I'm glad you cut off that communication. My God, that's so like petty and weird.
Yeah, but you know what? It was probably for the best that it ended up like that, because I did feel bad. She didn't really do anything necessarily wrong. I just didn't have the time to give her for all the conversation that she wanted. And then, when I started to tell her like, hey, this is getting to be a little much, then like, everything started changing. She started getting like, oh my God, no, you can't leave me type of thing. Like,
yeah,
still going to text you and voice memo you every single day. I don't care if you don't answer. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that is very strange.
So
it's tricky being online, being an online personality. Is that what we can call ourselves?
Yeah.
For that very reason, I'm afraid to like get too close to people. And it's nothing against them. It's just like you said, it's a matter of like how much time I have in my own life to divvy out to anybody else, basically, that's not already taking a lot of my attention. Like I have a big family, both immediately and extended, that like live around here. And that's like basically my life is consumed mostly by my kids, of course, and then my husband, and then the house and the farm chores and the fish tanks and the dog and, the chickens hatching. Like, it's always something around here. And I don't have time to maintain a needy friendship.
Yeah, and I hope, viewers and listeners can understand that, there's a boundary that we have to keep
Yeah,
too, and
sure.
that we have to protect ourselves and, keep that business owner, customer, relationship. We sometimes, like what happened with her, the customer became a friend and then it turned really bad.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want that to happen with anybody. Like, I want to keep it like, yeah, we can be friendly. We can, maybe talk, have an email or two back and forth. That's fine. But there has to be like a limit, that actually, the story I told actually reminds me of what you said earlier. Misery Loves Company. I don't know if you ever watched or read the book by Stephen King, Misery.
Yes, I've seen the movie and read the book. Yes.
She become like, she was like a fan of Stephen King, and he crashes the car, right? And she finds him and basically keeps him sick and, breaks his ankles and stuff like that to keep him there, because like, it became an obsession. Like, she was so miserable. She wanted him to be miserable with her and this whole big thing. But that's like how I felt like this prior friend was. Like, she had a not so happy life that she had to like portray and bring me into, and then start telling me all these different things that were happening. I mean, I guess they were, I don't know, to bring me down to her level too. Like,
Yeah.
worrying about different things and whatever else.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. I mean, the whole situation is wild to me, but especially the like trying to stir the pot, like bring the drama into your life of like, oh, well, that person's buying over there. How do you feel about that? Like, that is manipulative and strange. That's not
And
the thing to do
again,
with friends,
where how does she have the time for this?
Yeah.
Like, full-time job. And she would tell me, because she would be on the computer. She works from home because like it was more back when COVID was, keeping people home and stuff. And she would tell me that she had her computer, like she was sitting at her computer, and she would have her phone on one auction or one whatever, and then she'd have her tablet or iPad, whatever she had, on something else. And like, how do you have the brain power to pay attention to all of that, like,
Yeah. I don't know. But I do have a question. I got a point to bring up. If
Okay.
she knows that this chick, whoever it was in the other person's auction, doesn't that mean she was also over in that auction?
Yes.
So what does that say about her?
Exactly. That happened numerous times. That happened numerous times, especially when I would be live, like right then and there, working and showing jewelry and hosting my auction. And I'm getting text from her that so-and-so is at so-and-so's. And I'm like, I'm trying to like work and make money and show this jewelry, and you're texting me about like customers. Like, I can't. Like,
That's so mean. Like rude, I should say.
yeah.
That's so rude.
Yeah. And I'm not going to control, where my customers spend their money. That's ridiculous.
No, of course not. No, because we all share customers on YouTube. I mean, I don't sell as much as I used to, but like, there's plenty of room on the internet for everybody. And people are making sales all the time. And like,
that's what I say.
Yeah, there's only so much time in people's schedules that they can like actually have their shows. So there's a lot of overlap on shows because it's just the way it is. A lot of people don't want to sell on a Wednesday. They need to sell on a Friday night or a Saturday night or whenever their schedule allows. And that's like most people, because most people have a 9 to 5 during the week. So like, they're going to have auctions on the weekend, and that's okay. That's how it works. You got to have auctions when other people are going to be there. You're not going to be like, well, everybody else is having an auction tonight, so I guess I'll wait and go on at 3 a.m. when nobody is like going to be there. It doesn't make any sense. So like, yes, that does happen, but that's okay. And like to stir it up in the middle of a show when you're actively selling that, like,
yeah,
that boggles the mind.
Yeah.
That you would do that.
It got to the point where I had to, keep my phone away from me, but usually I keep my phone near me in my emails because I have like a form, like a registration form that
Right. Yeah.
so when people fill out the form during the live, it gets sent to my email. So I have my email up on my phone, but meanwhile her texts were coming in, and like, so it's like really distracting, and like, this is my livelihood. Like, I'm trying to make money to pay my bills, and like, I don't need to be worrying about where people are. Like,
Yeah. Seriously. That's so crazy.
Like, she may have been like doing it as like she's protecting me type of thing, but it really didn't come across that way, and it didn't have a result in that way.
Yeah.
Well, she's been out of the picture for a while, so
no, that's good. And it's for the best, right? Do you miss that
Yes.
friendship? Like,
No.
or do you feel the weight lifted?
Honestly, I don't think I miss any part of that friendship.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything like mean about it, but it wasn't the right person for me in my life. So, and that's okay. You're not always going to meet people that are going to be perfect to be your friend.
And that's true too. Like the whole that's okay thing. That's so very true. Like I think this, like, to my core. I've heard this before, and I feel it to my core, that I feel like certain people come into our lives and they are there. Sometimes it's a blip, sometimes it is years, but they are there for like when you need them. And then sometimes they go, or like you don't even have like a real relationship. It's just a single interaction, but they are there for a reason. Your paths have crossed for a reason.
Yeah.
And like you said, when it's done, it's okay. It's okay to let that go. Like, if you've gotten what you're going to get out of it, it's okay to release it. You don't need to hold on to it. I think some people get stuck in that, like, because it's kind of like I don't want to say like an abusive relationship. That's not.
Well, some people may feel bad and they don't want to hurt that person's feelings. They don't want to, because they care. They don't want to hurt their feelings. So they end up like dealing with it and being miserable on their end of it, as to not hurt that person's feeling. But maybe, you got to worry about yourself first.
Yes. And it's okay if it doesn't serve you anymore. Sometimes it's just like how it works. It's just the well has run dry. Like, you've gotten everything from it that you're going to get. You've given everything that you could give. And like, it's okay to move on to something else, or just not spend the energy on that specific relationship anymore. Yeah. It's perfectly okay. Don't feel like you have to keep these relationships going because they've been there, because they're not the same as they used to be anyway. It's like when you go back and try to do something that you did like ages ago because it was so fun when you did it, and then you do it when you're older and you're like, oh, well, this is not fun at all. I went skiing and had like the time of my life with like a friend back in the day in my teenage years, and then I went in my early 20s, with Troy, and it had been years. And mind you, when I went before, years prior, my friend and I, like, I got the hang of it real fast. My friend and I were literally racing down the hill because like we were having such a great time. Like, it was fun. I was rocking it. It was great. Years later, my husband snowboards, and he's like, well, if you like skiing so much, we can go on like a snowboard skiing adventure together. I was like, that would be so much fun. It had literally been like, I don't know, 8 years or something since I had gone. And man, I did not remember a thing. I immediately fell. I fell on this little slope you have to go down to get to the bunny hill. Like, I ate so hard. I flipped and like spit one of my freaking skis off. Like, it flew off my foot. It was a situation. And just to add a little funniness to the story, my husband comes and he saw that I had spilled, and I just was like sitting on the ground, and he came and he sat down next to me and he looks me in the eyes and he goes, I just sat on your sunglasses. Sunglasses on top of it. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm going to go in ski lodge. And he was like, no, just get down the hill one time. I'm like, all right. So I go down this hill one time and I nearly freaking die because at the very end of this hill, this is like hard to explain, but basically you have to slow down and then come to like a gentle like curve, like a little horseshoe, and then it wraps back around to the ski lift to go back up to the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
On the outskirts of this horseshoe is a fence, and beyond that fence is a cliff. And I was headed straight for that fence, like at full speed down at the bottom of this hill. And somehow I shifted my body to turn. I went up on one foot and took this turn on one foot. Like, I wonder if like, if someone saw me, did they think that I was like about to be totally screwed or like that skilled? Because I was on one foot.
Like you meant to do that.
It's like, it was terrifying. And I came to a stop and my husband pulls up behind me and I was like, I'm going to the lodge. I'm going to go sit down and have a drink. He's like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep snowboarding. It's like, you know where to find me. So I just went and drank beer in the lodge for the rest of the trip while my husband snowboarded. And it was not fun at all like it was the previous time I went, because I was trying to like relive this thing that was awesome before, and now it sucks because I don't know, time had passed. I had zero practice under my belt.
Yeah.
And that was a terrible story to try to connect into all this, but my point is it's okay to let things go, because sometimes they're changing over time. Everybody's changing over time. We're all changing over time, you know, for better or worse. And like, hopefully it's for the best. And sometimes that involves cutting some people out of your life that are not helping you progress into a better state of being, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, they could be holding you back. They can just be not, you know, growing the same as you. Like, time changes people, and not always for the best. Yes,
that's true. I do have like a friend that I talk to her every like few years. She's a friend from high school, and I have nothing against her at all. This is not a story about letting this person go. It's just like every once in a while we'll reconnect, catch up, and then we don't talk again for a while. And it's like totally fine. We've been doing this for 20 years now. And the last time she talked to me, she said, it's funny because I feel like nothing's changed since high school in a lot of ways. And I said, I could not disagree with that more. It's like, I appreciate like the sentiment and that you feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. I feel like that version of me in high school is dead. Like, that is someone totally different than who I am now.
Yeah.
And I think for the better. I hope for the better, because I was like a depressed, sad teenager in high school. So like, I'm fine, you know, not being that way anymore. I'm very happy in my life now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just, people are going to change. Some people are going to change. Some people aren't.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I'm not saying that she hasn't, because I honestly don't know. But I do have other people in my life that I'm like, dang, you were like exactly how you were in high school, making the same bad decisions. And like, that's kind of a person I'm thinking of specifically that like I don't really talk to much anymore because of that reason. I'm just like, I don't like to be reminded of my high school, honestly.
Yeah.
It was that miserable that I'd rather not think about it. So it's like, I don't know.
It was fine when it happened, and now you're over it. And me too. Like, I don't like, Kyle always asks me, are you going to go to your high school reunion? Because, you know, they have one like every few years or whatever. I'm like, no, I never want to go to a high school reunion. Like, yeah, like I liked high school then, but like, I don't want to see any of those people again. Like, that doesn't really interest me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Actually, we had ours this past year, 20-year reunion in last year. And someone contacted me. I haven't talked to her since high school, but she found me on Facebook and was like, hey, are you coming to the reunion tonight? And I'm like, no. for so many reasons.
Right?
Not like the most major, the fact that I live 2 hours away and I'm getting an invite to this reunion like 3 hours before it's gonna happen. Like, no, I'm not going to this freaking reunion. But why? So I can see what people look like now or what they're doing? I don't care.
Yeah.
With all due respect. I just don't care that much. If I'm really that curious, I'll find them on Facebook and see what they've been up to. But like, which I've done in the past, because who hasn't? But not like I don't care to go update people about my life that like they haven't been involved in 20 years. You know?
Agreed.
So I just gave her a little brief. She was like, we were at a pre-dinner thing last night and people were asking about you. And I was like, okay, well, you can tell them I'm a farmer now. I have 3 kids. Stay-at-home mom. My husband owns a business. And yeah. So if you want to update people, you can tell them that. But I'm not coming to this reunion. Tell people in person. You know? Like, no, I'm not doing that. So
yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Talk about dead friendships. That's like basically 99.9% of everybody I knew in high school. I still keep in contact. I'm actually seeing a friend this week that I've known since high school.
Well, it's more than me. I don't talk to anybody from high school. Actually, I think it was a few years ago. I went through my Facebook and deleted everyone that I had on there from Facebook because like I don't talk to them.
Yeah.
So why have them on my Facebook where they can see what I'm doing and everything? It doesn't matter. Like it's irrelevant.
You know what? I did that too for some people I just don't talk to. And then there was the ones that I'm like, oh, I'd feel so bad if like I defriended these people and they noticed. Why do I care? I don't know. This is like going back to our whole topic of conversation. Like it's okay to let people go. And like, yeah, you might feel bad about it, but like, why? Why do I have any feelings invested in this person I haven't talked to 20 years?
Right.
You know? But anyway, but it can be family too. I will say also I've had to cut somebody out of my family that was extremely toxic, and that's putting it lightly. Immediate banishment because it was that bad. And you know, it's hard. It's hard, and it's almost in some ways like grieving when you're that close to a person that you have to cut out for legit reasons.
Yeah.
And it is difficult, but like you got to do what's best for you and the people around you. And, you know, and it hurts to like do that, but like you got to think about you in the long run, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're playing with like 2 different situations. Do I stay miserable and frustrated and upset with this person? And just like, that's the ongoing bad feeling? Or do I just like cut it out, deal with those feelings, process those, and then move on? The chop and grow, you know?
Get them out. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because it's like choosing your heart, if you've ever heard that, like, you know, choose your heart. It's like a weight loss thing. It's like choose your heart. Do you either just like sit and be out of shape and miserable, or do you like put in the effort to like get better and see the improvement? Because both things are hard. Like staying the way you are is hard and growing is hard, but at least one of them is good for you and produces results down the line. And I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot more to say on this. I don't think that I haven't already said.
No, I think we covered like mainly the thing is you have to worry about yourself. You have to worry about your mental health, your happiness. You know, like not only was I dealing with all of that, but I was dealing with my business, you know, hurting because of this friendship. You know, she's taken up all this time that I need to be investing into my business. So now, you know, my finances are hurting because of it. And that's not okay. So everyone has to draw their line and their boundary and stick to it. And, you know, you got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah. I think that's where we should end this. That sounds like the perfect closing statement.
Okay.
That's it for this one, y'all. I can't add anything to that. That's perfect.
We will see you in 2 weeks.
Yep. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new topic, and hope to see you then. All right, everybody. Have a good night, day, whatever. See you next time.
Bye.